What if I told you that white people don't wash their collard greens? Would you believe me? This is the disturbing history of the difference between how black and white people treat their collard greens, a stark contrast to the love and reverence that black people have poured into this very dish. The story of collard greens begins not with taste, but with survival, the way they were washed, seasoned, and honored. If you grew up in a black household, you know the drill. Sink full of greens, hands moving fast, scrubbing and soaking until that water runs clear. Then comes the seasoning: smoked turkey, ham hocks, onions, garlic, peppers, and a sprinkle of red pepper flakes. You let it simmer for hours until the whole house smells like Sunday dinner. But step across the tracks, and the story shifts. In white Southern households of the 1800s, collards were not treated as sacred. Mary Randolph, the Virginia aristocrat who published The Virginia Housewife in 1824, is considered one of the most influential white cookbook authors of her time. In her pages, she gave delicate greens like lettuce an entire ritual of reverence. To have this delicate dish in perfection, the lettuce, peppergrass, chervil, cress should be gathered early in the morning, nicely picked, washed, and laid in cold water. That kind of detail and care simply does not appear when she mentions collards. When they show up in white culinary records, they are boiled with meat, treated as sustenance, cheap, abundant, and without ceremony. The silence in her book about washing collards is its own kind of testimony. Collards were filler, not food of honor. Part of the reason for that plain treatment was perception. For white families, collards were sustenance, cheap, hearty, and available in abundance. They were classified as poor people's food, a vegetable you leaned on when little else grew. But for enslaved Africans, collards were much more than filler. These were the scraps they were forced to work with, and from that trauma, they built a cuisine. Out of bitterness and scarcity came a food tradition rooted in survival and transformed into comfort. Over generations, this ingenuity became soul food, a profitable cuisine that left the plantation fields and found its way into neighborhood kitchens, corner diners, and beloved hometown restaurants. What white society dismissed, black families fixed with love, care, and adoration, until it became one of America's most enduring culinary treasures. Black kitchens turned collards into ceremony. Enslaved Africans transformed discarded scraps into nourishment. Washing collards wasn't optional, it was sacred. Every soak was a reclamation of dignity. Every rinse a quiet rebellion against being relegated to scraps. And that pot liquor broth? It was liquor for the soul. Medicine. Memory. That absence of care tastes different. One woman recalled her experience by writing about it in a blog, Truly Tafakari, describing the experience of tasting collards prepared by a white cook, and said, "It tasted like oppression." On the other hand, there is evidence of intentional care in black cooking traditions. Abby Fisher, born into slavery and author of What Mrs. Fisher Knows About Old Southern Cooking, 1881, dictated recipes that weren't casual notes but legacies passed down. Her existence as an author matters almost more than every recipe she wrote. It's proof that black cooks approached ingredients with purpose, care, and ceremony, not just function. Washing collards, never just about cleanliness. It was ritual, education, inheritance. The sink became a classroom where grandmothers taught mothers who taught children. We will take what the world dismisses, dirty, bitter, worthless, and we will make it holy. That's not cooking, it's community and resistance in one. And that is why collard greens are more than a side dish. They are soul food. They are revered. They are tradition, passed down and prepared with care from one generation to the next. They are the centerpiece of Thanksgiving plates, the quiet strength behind Sunday dinners, and the pride that still fills restaurants across America. They are love simmered in a pot, a bond shared around tables, and a ritual that keeps history alive. Scope News tells the truth. Here are the sources. Mary Randolph, author of The Virginia Housewife, 1824, one of the earliest and most influential white Southern cookbooks, gave detailed instructions for washing delicate greens like lettuce, but treated collards as plain boiled food, without ceremony. Ijoma Oluo, in her piece, I Ate White People's Collard Greens and It Tasted Like Oppression, published on Truly Tafakari, gave us the unforgettable line, "It tasted like oppression." Abby Fisher, author of What Mrs. Fisher Knows About Old Southern Cooking, 1881, was the first African-American woman to publish a Southern cookbook, preserving oral traditions and methods born out of survival and ritual. Legal disclaimer: this video is for educational, informational, or entertainment purposes only. Viewer discretion is advised as it discusses cultural traditions, historical practices, and racial divides in foodways. While Scope News strives for accuracy, sources such as oral histories, cookbooks, and personal testimonies carry inherent limitations. This production is intended to uncover overlooked truths about collard greens, culture, and the long-standing culinary divide in America. This content also seeks to reflect history as faithfully as possible, while recognizing that memory, cultural transmission, and archival gaps may shape the way these stories are preserved. Viewers are encouraged to approach with critical thought and compassion. Thank you for watching Scope News.